Hey guys, it's Duo 6 Analysis back with another video for UFC 141 predictions. Shout out to my boy 916 Chris. Thanks for the shout out on your video. All the support helps. So let's get started. So first fight of the night is Nam versus Jim Hedis. Uh, they're both great grapplers. Nam is probably has a black belt in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu and a brown belt in karate. And he has a second degree black belt. No, one second. This is in Koyandao. Uh, he really likes to really mix up his kind of his grappling styles, which is going to be very key in this fight because Jim Hedis he really depends on Brazilian Jiu Jitsu in the wrestling, which Nam Pham, he's great. He can fight on the feet. He can fight on the ground. But when this fight happens, I'm seeing this going onto the ground, and we're gonna be seeing Nam Pham's hand being raised by winning via decision. All right, so I say Nam Pham via decision. Now, second bout, Vladimir Matyushenko versus Alexander Gustafsson. Matyushenko is a very experienced wrestler. He's been really using his wrestling for his whole career. Really, he he's gonna be turning 41 next week, and he stays in the top 10 consistently, which is very impressive for a guy at his age and how long he's been around. So, I really, if this is his last fight, I'm really gonna be sad because I've loved Matt Yushenko's really fighting style and how he really tries to, how he really fights his opponents. But we're seeing a new man who is making a big he's becoming a big standout in the UFC light heavyweight division. Alexander Gustafsson, who his only loss in MMA has been to Phil Davis, which was back at UFC one. What was it? UFC 112, I think, where he lost via I think was it Anaconda choke. I think it was Anaconda choke, and so when you see this, you would automatically most followers, not really diehard followers, but regular MMA fans who maybe just watch few events. A few fighters think this guy would lose this fight via decision or got TKO due to ground strikes. But his wrestling has takedown defense has improved since that fight. We saw his wrestling against Rile Diabate, and he really did. He was able to really keep him down, really have a had a really easy fight with him. And in the end, he was able to win via rear naked choke after putting a good pounding on Rile Diabate. And then we saw him fight Matt Hamill, which he was able to stuff a lot of Matt Hamill's takedowns. And Matt Hamill wasn't really able to get any standing into that fight, even though he did. He was able to get a cut on Gustafsson's face. Gustafsson did win the fight. He won the fight via TKO after Matt Hamill basically gave up after getting backed into the fence, and where he basically just dove to the ground and was beaten. So now we're seeing this. Now we're seeing how Gustafsson's evolving, always evolving, and Vladimir Matyushenko, how he's always impressing. I'm thinking this fight is going to be the younger man's going to win. I think Alexander Gustafsson's going to be winning this fight, most likely via decision because of Matt Yushenko's cardio, and both their cardio is really good. Both very they both do well with long battles. They both do well with striking. They both I can't say both do well with grappling. I think Alexander Gustafsson will have trouble, but if I see this fight, I'm thinking it's gonna be Alexander Gustafsson via unanimous decision. Now to the third fight, John Fitch versus Johnny Hendricks. Now we all think this is going to be a really boring fight, which it might be, but this is probably the best fight we could see for John Fitch because John Fitch has been given mismatched opponents. Now we're seeing him go against Johnny Hendricks, who was probably the better wrestler. For his college experience, and now we see a guy who might be able to beat John Fitch on the ground. We only saw GSP. GSP was the only one we've seen to be able to do that, but now we see Johnny Hendricks maybe be the only other man instead of GSP to beat him with wrestling. So John Fitch is obviously the bigger man, and again, you always got to say that everyone's got to kick this into factor. Every fight does start on the feet, and John Fitch has very underrated striking. Since he's so big, he has a lot of those long arms. He's going to be able to use those. He's going to be able to keep him at bay if he wants to, and again keep him at bay to set up those takedowns. which that's what I see in this fight most likely happening. Johnny Hendricks is his last setback was, I think, was his loss to Rick Story which happened last year, and he's won via, he has had 2 fights after that. He's won via TKO at over T.J. Wellberg and Mike Pierce. He won a decision over Mike Pierce. I think it was at UFC 133. And so he's been on, he's been trying to work back up to title contention after, Rick Story had his little, after he lost to Rick Story, and Rick Story had the big hype, being, a great fighter and everything, but, that's then and then. So when I see this fight, I think I'm going to see, again, I think it's going to be another win for John Fitch, most likely. John Fitch is going to have trouble. I think this will be the first time John Fitch will have to be very cautious with his wrestling. So, John Fitch via decision. Now to the co-main event, which I think is the best fight on the card, is Nate Diaz versus Donald Cerrone. This fight is great because they're good. They're both good They're both okay. Not good grapplers. I mean, they're both great strikers. Both like to use their punches. Both like to use kicks. And one has an advantage over the other is Nate Diaz with his grappling, which we saw Donald Cerrone has some trouble with grappling, especially with Benson Henderson. But again, Benson Henderson's, Jesus, he's a fucking beast with his standing guillotine joke. Now, if I could see this fight happening, I'm thinking it's going to be more Donald Cerrone, even though it could go either way, because this is a great fight. This is a fight that's going to be very tough to predict, because both fighters have good power, both fighters have good stand-up game. And I think I see Donald Cerrone winning because of how Nate Diaz really uses that Muay Thai stand up style, where his legs are very wide apart, and you're gonna be able to see that Donald Cerrone is gonna be able to land more of his kicks most likely, and he does a great way of doing that. He has a great way of using his kicks. I think it was what was his? I remember what was his fight? I think it was Wagner Rocha. He was kicking. He was really delivering some great kicks to him. And now we see them going out against another guy. We see a guy, great kickboxer, and we see a guy with great boxing. And again, I think this time the kickboxer is going to win, not because of not because of the kickboxing, but it's because how he uses that kickboxing, and how he's going to have to use that kickboxing against a guy like Nate Diaz, who holds tremendous power, not like his brother Nick, who probably has the hardest punch in the lighter divisions, undoubtedly has the hardest punches in the lighter divisions, from basically middleweight down to featherweight. So now my main prediction for this is going to be Donald Cerrone via decision. I'm thinking there's going to be a lot of decisions on this card. All right, now to the main event, the one that we've all been waiting for. The biggest men in the sport are now fighting. It doesn't get any bigger than this. So Brock Lesnar fighting another big guy, like Shane Carwin, like he fought. That was basically, when that happened, it was the biggest man in the sport. When we all saw that, Shane Carwin was almost 6'2", he was 6'2", 254 pounds of just almost pure muscle, and then we saw Brock Lesnar, just this huge guy. Now we're seeing a year and a half later, this fight again, another fight like this, but now with Alistair Overeem. Now, the things that's going to have to come into key is that with Brock Lesnar he suffered twice from diverticulitis, which causes it makes it so it's harder for you to it's really hard to keep yourself in shape. It's hard to keep yourself, in the fight game, which might have a problem, which might cause them to gas. But again, I think gassing might have come into key, is because I think it will come into key because both fighters have horrible cardio, and I think both have horrible cardio, and I think it's going to leave this fight it's going to be decided in the first 3 minutes, most likely, who's going to win this fight. So now, making my case for Lesnar is that Lesnar, all he really has to do is use his pure wrestling, pure NCAA collegiate wrestling to win this fight. he's gonna have to use his wrestling. He's gonna have to bull rush him like he did with Keith Haring. He's gonna have to not do any flashy moves, no beginning, no running up with the flying knee in the beginning of the fight. He's gonna have to really use his wrestling and take down Alistair Overeem, who Alistair Overeem has had troubles with wrestlers. But now, I'm gonna get to that, to his case. His case is Lesnar is gonna have to wrestle, and if Lesnar loses, it's gonna be from taking too many strikes from Overeem. Overeem's gonna be using his most likely gonna be going back to his Danish kickboxing. So in my case, if Lesnar wins, it's gonna have to be it's gonna be in the second round. In the first, and I said in the first 3 minutes, it's gonna be decided after if we see Brock Lesnar takes Overeem down. I think that's the thing that's going to be decided right there. If he takes him down, it's going to be basically good night, Alistair Overeem. Alright, now for my case for Overeem. Overeem is tall, he uses his kickboxing, he's going to use his leg kicks, but the problem is that he gassed way too early in the Fabricio Verdun fight. He was not doing a single thing to really knock him out. He was just he was just basically sitting there waiting for Fabricio to get up after Fabricio continuously laid down on the ground telling him to go on the ground with him. So I think this is, again, like if you gas that early against a wrestler, you're not going to win. So if Alistair's going to win, he's going to be using complete Dutch kickboxing. He's going to use his kickboxing. He's going to use the roots. He's going to try keeping a range with Lesnar. He's going to try using his strikes, and he's undoubtedly the most fit guy in the heavyweight division. People are going to be saying, "Oh, he has more wins than in submissions than in knockouts." But the thing is, he really had most of his submissions came when he was in his early career, when he wasn't really in the heavyweight division, when he was really in the light heavyweight division. Most of his wins were, his submission wins were when he was younger, when he was that little schoolboy light heavyweight, when he wasn't really as that threatening man we see today. So to me, this fight is going to be determined in the first 3 minutes, and I'm thinking I'm going to go against the flow. I'm going to go with Brock Lesnar to win via decision. Or no, not decision. Why did I say that? I'm thinking of him winning via TKO in the second round via ground and pound. So that's my end of my video. Check out my boy 916 Chris' channel. Thanks for the shout out. Check out my Twitter in the description below. I'll tweet whatever if you guys want any random tweets. If you guys want me to tweet you back and you want to ask me questions, I'll answer you back to you as quick as I can. And subscribe. New videos almost every week. And basically prediction videos for every UFC event and Strikeforce event. I'm trying to get my boxing knowledge back up. So if you like boxing, again, subscribe and look forward to me viewing more boxing vids. Alright, I'm out, and I will see you later, and I will see you guys tomorrow after the event. Peace out.